Hey folks, Tito, Jeff Thitoff here with your Black and Gold Blitz. Thanks so much for tuning in. Follow me on Twitter @ThitHappens. Lots to talk about today. We'll start off with a former coach, and then we'll ease into what's going on with the Steelers quarterback situation. So, there was a rumor that went out, and this is something about Mike Tomlin, that if the Patriots decide, or if Mike Vrabel decides, if they decide to part ways, all this scandal going on right now with Mike Vrabel and Danny Rossini, and there's been talk. I spoke to I think it might have been Albert Breer, somebody I spoke to recently, but anyway, he just said it's different in the Patriots organization with how Mike Vrabel is now, and that this recent scandal, this thing has kind of changed the way he's been. At least recent. Look, it's understandable. It's a very public, very embarrassing. I'm thinking very maybe some shameful, if you want to use that word. I'm not sure. I'm not passing judgment on, but anyway, if it ends up being viewed by Vrabel or by the Patriots or by both of them to part ways, and if they did choose to part ways, and I don't think he will. I don't see this as a possibility. But high on the Patriots list as a replacement is one Mike Tomlin. Again, there's according to reports that the Patriots would have interest in Mike Tomlin, which I understand. Why wouldn't you have interest in Mike Tomlin? And it'd be an interesting fit for him because you're going to another, you want to say stable, one of the more stable organizations, I guess I would say that. I know they've had their share of controversies through what Robert Kraft did as far as the massage thing, and then the way the Brady-Belichick relationship ended. And so there's certainly, I'm not saying it's a perfectly clean, squeaky clean organization, but still, Mike Tomlin could be an interesting choice there if they decide to go that route. Again, I don't think Vrabel's going anywhere, but I think Tomlin will be a good fit there. It'd certainly be the first call I make if I'm the Patriots and Vrabel decides to step down. All right. We're still waiting on the decision from Aaron Rodgers if he's going to play or not. And he was, the Steelers just gave him what was called the UFA tender. And what that means is if he decides to sign with another team, the Steelers have the right to match it. Right now, by the way, the UFA tender, you get at least it's a little more than a 10% raise. He'd be on the books for $15 million coming up on a one-year deal. So he can shop himself around, though. He can try to find an offer somewhere else. And the Steelers, if they come back to Steelers and offer, hey, this team's willing to give me this. The Steelers have the right to match it. And then, or the Steelers can refuse it. And if they refuse it and he goes to a different team, then the Steelers would be eligible for compensatory picks, a compensatory pick in the draft. So they get some draft compensation out of it if they would happen to not match it. There's not a lot of spots that Aaron Rodgers should go right now and get a chance to start for a quality team. And the Steelers are a quality team still. They're defending AFC North champs, and they've added a couple of weapons, obviously. Offensive line should be better as well. So Rodgers, though, could do that. But originally people thought, the Vikings would be a good fit for him. The Vikings now have Kyler Murray. And they're not going, they still have J.J. McCarthy trying to go. Aaron Rodgers will not get a spot there. Go to the Cardinals, get your ass kicked every week because the Cardinals' offensive line has been disastrous. And I don't think you want Aaron Rodgers in that situation. The Jets, no, obviously not. Dolphins already got their guy. There's not really a team out there that is in dire need of an aging quarterback. He's a good piece to have if you got a lot of other good pieces around you. But if your offensive line is not rock solid, and you're not a playoff contender with a weak quarterback, he's not going to the Texans, for instance. He's not going to do that. The Colts, they just signed Daniel Jones. I guess the Colts could be an option. That might be the next best option. Nonetheless, though, it's interesting the Steelers did this because I don't think they do this unless they're worried about him not coming back. Or wanting to go somewhere else is what it is. They're not worried about coming back. I think they think he'll come back, but this protects them if he does go somewhere else. We've already missed 2 deadlines. He was going to let him know sooner rather than later, and then let him know before the draft what his plans are. We sit here now a week after the draft, and we don't know what he's going to do. So Rodgers, if he doesn't sign with another team, so he's got to sign an offer sheet, if you will. If he doesn't sign with another team by July 22nd or the first day of the Steelers training camp, whichever is later, then the Steelers have exclusive negotiating rights with him after that, which means he can't sign with anybody else after that to get an offer sheet match and all that kind of stuff. If it gets to July 22nd or the first day of Pittsburgh's training camp, it's Pittsburgh or bust unless they decide to trade him, but they will have complete control over all of that. So we're waiting to see what Aaron Rodgers does on that. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the Pittsburgh quarterback situation now, because you're looking at it now and you've got, well, let's see. You've got 3 quarterbacks in the room right now with Mason Rudolph, Drew Allar, and Will Howard from Ohio State. Rodgers, the other one there. And so if Rodgers doesn't come back, then Mason Rudolph's your starter. And you got to figure out who's going to be the second and third string quarterback among the Will Howard, who's now in his second year, and Drew Allar, the rookie they just drafted out of Penn State. If Rodgers does come back, I think they do cut Mason Rudolph. So Rudolph's in a weird situation. Either he'll be a starter or get cut. I don't think there's any in between there, because they're not going to get rid of Allar. I still think they believe in Will Howard. Steelers quarterback legend Ben Roethlisberger spoke about this. And this is kind of a long cut right here, but he kind of talked about how he wasn't that impressed with Drew Allar from what he saw from this season. Here is Ben Roethlisberger.
I didn't watch a lot of Penn State games. When I did watch, he never jumped off the page to me.
Sure.
Okay. Is he big? Can he move? Can he throw? Yeah. But there was never a time when I'm like, whoa. Like, now some of that might be too because they had some stud running backs and they're handing the ball off a lot. So there is some of that, to take into consideration. This is going to be they're going to bring him in to compete with Will Howard. I assume if Aaron comes back, they're probably going to move on from Mason, I would think, and let those 2 young guys compete for the 2 and 3 job. If Aaron doesn't come back, then I think you have all 3 of them competing. 3, I think Mason, Will, and Drew. This one, the jury's out on me right now. Again, there was nothing that just jumped off the page from me, but whether that's good or bad, I don't know. But it's just we'll see. We'll see about this one.
So I'll follow up with one more quick one here. This is he talked about, jumping off the page, that Drew Allar did not jump off the page. Here he's talking about a Will Howard does.
When I watch tape, or if I watch games, Will Howard jumped off the tape to me way more than Drew did. And third round, 6th round is interesting.
So Roethlisberger clearly a fan of Will Howard. And Drew Allar, look, he did not look good. He looked a little bit skittish sometimes. He's got the right size. He's a big guy. It's just I don't know if he's the right answer at quarterback for them. I think the Steelers drafted him. They drafted him in the right spot for him, but I don't think I would have used that pick on him, if that makes sense. It's like they didn't overdraft him. I just don't think that it was a good value for where they got him, if that makes sense, because that's about the range he would have gone. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on the Aaron Rodgers situation. So much to talk about with that and see what happens there. I still say, if I were a betting man, I think Rodgers comes back to Pittsburgh. I think he plays for Mike McCarthy. Probably one more year, and then he's done after that. But we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep you posted on that, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. There's so many things going on right now, and we're getting close to the start of all the camps and whatnot. And so we'll get back to you with more news. Again, with the Aaron Rodgers stuff breaks, we'll tell you that as well if we get news on that. This has been the Black and Gold Blitz. I'm Tito, Jeff Thitoff. Follow me on Twitter @ThatHappens.